Vem com o astral, aroma da manhã. Vem com o sol, vem do céu e das estrelas. Café com astral, vem mostrar uma luz. Pra te ver com a vida, você ficar. Da terra, você do fogo, você da água e do ar. De bom astral, agora você vai ficar. Uma luz em você vai brilhar. Café com astral.
Navegando a costa do Mar Negro, em plena idade do bronze, Jasão reuniu os maiores heróis da Grécia para uma viagem rumo ao seu destino, o encontro da lã mágica do carneiro, que devolveria a ele o trono do reino perdido de seu pai pelo usurpador rei Pélias. Na tripulação de uma nau construída com 3 troncos de carvalho estavam Hércules, Aquiles, Teseu, Castor, Pólocos, Orfeu e Atalanta, uma jovem e exímia corredora, a única mulher desta tripulação de Argos, a grande nau. E essa história se conta há mais de 3.000 anos. Jasão e os Argonautas, Jasão e o velocino de ouro, Jasão e o velo de ouro. Muitos nomes para uma grande história, com todos os ingredientes de grandes histórias, como a de Harry Potter, do Senhor dos Anéis e de muitas sagas que Hollywood exibiu. Esta tem todos os ingredientes também de uma história trágica e comovente: amor, ódio, poder, riqueza, guerra, vida, morte e renascimento, traição, paixão, sentimentos profundos, extremos, porque divinos. Jasão era um herói diferente. Jasão foi o primeiro esposo de Medeia, a feiticeira e filha do rei de Cólquida, a grande cidade do ouro, que na Grécia Antiga dividia o Oriente e o Ocidente. Essa história está cheia de exemplos, de erros, de acertos, que fazem parte da trajetória de qualquer herói, divino ou humano. O mito de Jasão e os Argonautas, ou o mito de Jasão e o velocino de ouro, é um dos grandes mitos do signo de Áries. E Jasão encarna o arquétipo do ariano puro, o ariano que traz para nós a imponência, a força, mas também a fragilidade, a impulsividade e a inconsequência, a falta da racionalidade. Isso está presente em todo ariano puro e está presente também na força que temos a cada dia para nos levantar e seguir a nossa jornada. A BBC de Londres fez um documentário belíssimo sobre esta jornada de Jasão e os Argonautas. E eu separei alguns trechos no dia de hoje, já o Sol caminhando pelo 3º decanato desse signo que abre a nossa jornada anual e zodiacal. Eu separei então alguns trechos para que você compreenda mais profundamente o significado deste signo fabuloso, o signo inicial, ou primeiro, o signo de Áries. Aquele que nos ensina a todos os dias renascer.
Like many Greek myths, the tale begins in bloodshed. Jason's wicked uncle, Pelias, seizes the throne of Iolcos and deposes the rightful king, Jason's father.
Nephew.
To be secure, Pelias must kill Jason, but the boy is whisked away. For Jason, the gods plan a different destiny. Like fairy tales, myths express our deepest thoughts, hopes and fears. But in myths, especially Greek myths, the hero doesn't always live happily ever after. When he's 20 years old, Jason leaves Mount Pelion to claim his birthright, his father's kingdom. On the way, he loses a sandal carrying an old woman across a river. She's his protectress, the goddess Hera, in disguise. And then Jason heads down into the plain of Iolkos to his uncle's palace.
Though King Pelias sat upon the throne of Iolkos, he was uneasy. A prophecy from the oracle at Delphi had warned him to beware a stranger who would come wearing just one sandal. So when Jason arrived and boldly claimed the throne, the king was afraid. The sacred law of hospitality forbade him from harming Jason directly, but Pelias was cunning. "Tell me, young man," he said to Jason, "if you were me, and you were faced with a challenger to your throne, what would you do?" Jason replied, "I would set him a task that none but the gods could hope to perform." "Very well then," said Pelias. "If you would wear my crown, you must first bring me the golden fleece."
But what was the fleece? Well, the fleece came from a marvelous golden ram, a gift of the king of the gods, Zeus himself. The ram had flown east to the land where the sun rises. There the king, son of the sun god, had sacrificed it and hung the fleece in a sacred tree guarded by a dragon. A wondrous portent in a land no human had ever seen. The legend says that Jason sailed from Greece to Kolkis, today's Georgia. But the way the earliest poets saw it, the Black Sea was part of the great ocean which circled the earth. It was literally a voyage to the edge of the world. At the start of the journey, Jason is young, inexperienced in the ways of men. And as Mount Pelion fades into the distance, he bursts into tears.
Something strangely unheroic about Jason. All the things that happened to him almost happened by chance. You think of the other great Greek heroes, I mean Achilles, his great qualities, killing people without thinking. Odysseus, wiliness and cunning, he's always 2 steps ahead of everybody else. They're the kind of models by which young men should live their lives by and define themselves as men. Jason's different.
Jason's not macho, he's not a killer, and he's receptive to the power of women. In fact, Jason's relations with women will be his fate. As with other great heroes in the world's myths, Gilgamesh, King Arthur, even James Bond, he achieves his quest only with the help of a divine woman. And so the journey, as some ancient writers understood it, was also an inward voyage, a tale of initiation. And Jason's first test was on the island of Lemnos.
As they approached the island, the Argonauts realized with alarm that a host of warriors had come out to meet them. To their surprise, though, they soon discovered that the warriors were women. Their queen, Hypsipyle, was the first to speak, blushing in a most unwarlike fashion. "Stranger," she said to Jason, "do not be afraid. We are unprotected. We have lost all our men." And she told Jason how the women of Lemnos had been cursed by the goddess of love, and how, as a result, all their men had abandoned them for other women and left the island. "So," she continued, "we invite you all to stay here with us, and if the prospect pleases you, to come to our beds."
But the Lemnian women, don't forget, had been cursed by the goddess of love. She'd given them a stink so foul that they repelled all men. Now, where did that weird tale come from? Well, the women in Bronze Age Lemnos were skilled in dyeing cloth. They used a dye made from the glands of a sea snail mixed with human urine. It produces the richest colour and worst stink on earth. A clue to a Bronze Age reality behind the tale? By making love to the women, the Argonauts broke the curse.
You are all the children of the Argonautas.
Yes. But the women of Lemnos had a dark secret. What they hadn't told Jason was that they'd murdered all their men. Got them drunk one night, stuffed them in sacks, and thrown them into the sea.
Ah. So this is the cliff.
Oui.
Place where they threw them off.
Petaxa, a Greek. Petaxa.
Throw.
Petai, throw.
Throw. Wow. So the name of the cliff preserves the legend. Petaxa is to throw in Greek. This in the legend is the place where the Lemnian women threw them off the cliff into the sea.
As so often in Greek myths, the fairy tale turns out to be strange and cruel. Queen Ipsipili fell in love with Jason and asked him to stay and see his sons grow up. But Jason was a hero on a quest, and he had to go on. Shore was a summer voyage. He wouldn't risk the wrath of Poseidon, the god of the sea. But as insurance, Jason landed at the island of Samothrace, home of the mysterious great gods, to get their magic protection before passing beyond the limits of the known. To reach the Black Sea, the Argonauts now needed to navigate the fierce currents pouring out of the great ocean through the Bosphorus. For Jason, the straits of the Bosphorus were guarded by a terrifying obstacle that crushed all ships trying to pass. The clashing rocks. Only one man knew the secret of how to sail through. Phineas the seer, who'd been blinded by the gods for telling too much of the future.
"Listen, Jason," said Phineas. "About your destiny, I can only reveal what the gods permit. For Zeus, the king of the gods, wills it that humanity shall never see all of heaven's design. But for the clashing rocks, as you approach the cliffs, release a dove to fly on ahead. The rocks will clash shut. As they reopen, you must seize your chance and row through with all your might." "But sir," said Jason, "will we get safely back to Greece? That's what we want to know." "My son," said the old man, "I can say no more. But remember this, your best ally is Aphrodite, the goddess of love."